Hey everyone, my name is Christina Wilcox, and today I'm going to be answering your questions, all things Enneagram. We're just going to dive right in. So the first question, what is the significance of the heart, mind, and gut triads? So the significance of the three triads is actually really huge because they are three completely different ways that people can approach the world. The mind triad approaches the world in a very logical and fear-based way. The heart triad approaches the world in a very emotional and shame-based way. And the gut triad approaches the world in a way that is empowered by passion and anger. And even as I probably said those words, you felt yourself resonating with one of the three groups. And that's why it's significant, is it also helps you narrow down your number and kind of see what space your dominant number lives in. Did you ever think you were one type before realizing your true type? Yes. I probably had a period of time where I went through thinking I was every single number except for 4 and 8. I had determined that I was not an 8, and I also had determined that I was not a 4. And at one point, I was just ready to throw in the towel and be like, you know what, I don't relate to any of these, this is dumb, whatever. But what's ironic is when I first took the test, I got a 4. And when I read the description, it hit parts of me that I did not want to recognize at the time. And so I just blew off the Enneagram as a whole. And it wasn't until I really just took a second and looked at myself in the mirror and accepted the fact that, yes, I am motivated by a desire to express myself and to be authentic and to be unique and different. And I do struggle with pulling people in and pushing them away. And I do see the beauty in everything, and I do have a tendency to sit in painful emotions and melancholy because that's where I'm comfortable. And I just kind of reflected on everything that made a 4 and realized that that was indeed my soul human internal experience as a person. And it was really cool because the Lord used it to totally redeem parts of myself that I thought were disgusting and that were kind of hopeless parts of me. And the Enneagram was a tool that helped me heal and beautify the parts of myself that I was ashamed of. And the Lord truly showed me that, yes, these are your weaknesses, but I created you. I did not miss anything when I created you. And your weaknesses are also your biggest strengths because of me. So, long story short, yes, I did think I was a ton of different numbers, but I am indeed a 4. Would you ever do a series on subtypes? P.S. You're amazing. First off, you're amazing, thank you. And second, I totally would do a series on subtypes. I don't feel like I'm in a place where I want to do it really well. So I want to take time on that series, and it's something I'm actually working on in my head and on paper right now because I want it to be excellent. How did you get into the Enneagram? So I got into the Enneagram through a friend who I led worship with at a church I was working at the time, and he was like, you have to take this test. I think we're going to end up being the same number. And that's when I first took the test and got a 4. He was also a 4. And I thought it was stupid for a long time until I realized that I could understand others through knowing the Enneagram. And then I fell in love with it. And then when I accepted my own core desires and fears, I was hooked, sealed, signed, and delivered. I'm a huge believer in what God can do through the system as a tool in relationships and marriages and friendships and work environments. And yeah, that's how I got into it. Ashley asks, I'm conflicted between being a 1 or a 6. How can I tell for sure? So I actually had a good friend think she was a 1 for a very long time, and we kind of talked about it for a while, and she discovered that she actually resonated with a type 6 more than one. And ultimately, I would say the way you can figure that out is your motivation behind why you're doing what you're doing. So 1s and 6s are very organized people. They can often be perfectionists, and they're trying to prepare and plan for everything possible, but they do that for two completely different reasons. A 1 will do that because they want to be good. They don't want to be corrupted. They don't want to make mistakes. They want to be completely accurate in everything that they're doing. And a 6 will behave in the way they are behaving because they are motivated by a desire to be safe, secure, everything's okay, I'm planning for the worst possible thing that could happen so that I'm prepared. 6s want to be prepared for everything, and 1s want to make everything perfect, not for the sake of security, but really just for the sake of it being perfect and excellent, and that's a standard they just hold themselves to. So I would say whichever one of those you resonated with more is probably the number you identify with more. What is your favorite thing about being a 4? So my favorite thing about being a 4 is I think that I see beauty and creativity in everything I put my hands on. And when I work on a project, I'm pouring my being into that project. And sometimes that can get me in trouble, but I have been seeing the beauty and wonder of being so deeply involved with the things I'm doing in my life and relationships. And so many people, it takes a long time to unlock those emotions. And where I do struggle in other areas, I am very, very proud and happy to be in touch with those emotions, so that I can also help others be in touch with those emotions, sit with them in pain, sit with them in difficulty, and show them how they can express themselves creatively and that they're gonna be okay. I'm such a believer that the only way out of things is through. And when you go through it, even if it's awful, the end result, every single time, I'm only speaking from my human experience, but every trial I have ever walked through, when I thought it was going to be hopeless and the end result would be awful and things were never going to get better, those were total lies. And always on the other side, in hindsight, things are beautiful. And in the midst of things, they are beautiful and they are gifts. And I love being in touch with those emotions and being able to share that with others. Self-care and conflict tips for 9s. Okay, so I'm married to a 9 wing 8, and I would say self-care for 9s looks a lot like giving yourself grace, but also pushing yourself to continue in whatever it is you're doing. A lot of times 9s want to withdraw or work on other projects rather than the one thing or one emotion or the one conversation that really needs to be had. And I would say self-care for a 9 would be reminding yourself too that what you have to say and your presence as a person in that situation, in that emotion, in that conversation that may be a part of a conflict that's happening, your presence matters and we need you. A lot of times for 9s, the fear of conflict is really from a place of not thinking that what they have to say and what they bring to the world and what they bring to the conflict matters, and it does. We need you, we need your opinion, we need your insight, we need your emotions, like we just need you in this world, present and fully alive. And so that would be my advice for self-care, is doing things that remind you that you are fully alive and remembering that who you are and what you have to say and what you are thinking and what you bring to life and conversations and relationships matters, and we need it desperately. Why can your wing only be next to your number? Isn't that limiting the complexity of personalities? And my response to this question would be any personality typing tool. Myers-Briggs, Enneagram, Strength Finders, love languages, whatever the test is, all of them are going to limit the human personality and complexity in some way. No one can fit into a number or a letter or a shape or an animal like a star. No human being can fit into a small box. And I think that's something that a lot of people have a tendency to forget with the Enneagram. I was actually talking with a girl who's releasing a game for the Enneagram, which I'm so excited. We may be doing a giveaway with it soon, I don't know. But she reminded me that the Enneagram, a lot of people think it makes up 75% of who you are, when really it makes up about like 0.002% of who you are. And so while it may seem, if the Enneagram and personality typing tools seem limiting to your story and your background and who you are every day in life, you're probably right. It is limiting. All it is a tool for self-improvement, self-awareness, and growth with yourself and in relationships. But I will say that with the Enneagram, there's so much more to it than just the wings. There is your dominant number, your wings, the numbers you go to in stress and security, the subtypes. There's just tons of different numbers and behaviors that one person exhibits in their life and through the Enneagram. And so I think when you really look at the entire system, it isn't as limiting as it may seem. What are some good Enneagram books to read? I love this question. So I think my list of Enneagram books, I would say for someone who's just diving into the Enneagram, wanting to find out their type, wanting to go a little bit deeper into their type, The Road Back to You by Cron, The Path Between Us by Suzanne Stabile is all about relationships, and those books go really well together. I also would recommend The Sacred Enneagram if you're pretty well versed in your type and your wings and your friends' types and everything. That book just goes super deep into what the Enneagram is and what it is about. Anything by Richard Rohr or Beatrice Chestnut is also incredible. Those books are pretty meaty, and so if you are a beginner, I don't know if I would recommend starting there, but definitely get there at some point because their books are incredible. Yeah. All right, the last question of this Q&A is from Lauren, and she asks, as a 4, what is one thing about the Enneagram that you use daily? So one practical thing involving the Enneagram that I use for myself as a type 4 is remembering that emotions and feelings are like a leaf flowing down a river. They come and they go and they are temporary. I think for a while, and in my more average to unhealthy states, I have a tendency to believe that feelings are a part of who I am. Like, I'm not just feeling this, this is an integral part of who I am as Christina, and I have to submit to it and listen to it and be engulfed in it. And what I've realized with the Enneagram and with moving to my number in security, which is a 1, that emotions come and go, and they don't determine my environment, they don't determine me, they don't determine other people, and they are not parts of who I am. They're just emotions, and that's what they are. And it's beautiful that I can feel them super deeply, but they are still temporary, and they don't define me as a person. And so I would say that is a huge part of the Enneagram that I use every day in conversations, in housework, in work, in just life in general. That currently, that one aspect of my number and where my number goes to in growth has been really helping me in my day-to-day life. All right, guys, that's it for this Q&A. I have thoroughly enjoyed answering your questions, and I still cannot believe that people even asked me questions and wanted to participate in this Q&A. It is the biggest honor of my life. Before we go, I just want to say thank you for everything that you do, and thank you for supporting me and supporting yourself through the Enneagram and investing in your own self-growth and improvement. Just want to plug really quick that you can become a member of my Patreon page. There are different tiers that get different rewards. Even if you just donate $5 a month, you get monthly prints and wallpapers and letters, and I think it's just a fun thing to be a part of, because really my ultimate desire and heart in what I'm doing is to connect with you and to create beautiful things that express who you are. And so that's a cool way to get involved with what I am doing. Also, I do one-on-one coaching sessions and couple coaching sessions. I have a Discover Your Type session for 25 minutes. That's $15, super simple and easy. And then I have a Going Deeper session that is an hour for $45. And whichever one you feel like you need to do, you do it, and we have a great time. We talk over Skype or over a phone if that's what you prefer. And it's just a really cool way for me to help you on this Enneagram journey. Thank you so much for watching this video and participating in the Q&A. Let me know if you like this type of content. I would love to keep creating it. And let me know what kind of video I should do next. All right, guys, have a great week. Bye.